Howdy, partner. So you want to learn how to refinish a barrel? Well, you're in luck. We're going to show you today. Today, we're going to show you how we're going to refinish this old barrel and make it really cool and like new again. Now, this is an old bourbon barrel, but it doesn't matter if it's bourbon or wine or whatever kind of barrel you got. The concepts are going to be generally the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to sand it down, and then we're going to get rid of some of this rust and a few other things. Then we're going to stain it and put a nice coat of shellac on it and make it a cool part of our outdoor patio. So it's going to be a nice kind of furniture decoration and should be pretty waterproof. Before we jump into it, if you can take just a moment, go to the bottom right, hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. That really helps us out. Also, likes. If you have any comments or questions, put them in the comment box. But take a second, subscribe. That helps us out. Thanks for doing that. So, back to business. These barrels are really heavy, and you're going to be best to probably work on it on its side. So if you need some help, you can, try to find a friend. But, when it's empty, you can probably handle it yourself. We've already kind of started. So I've got two 2x4s here that we're going to use just to sort of chalk it when it's bent over. So I'm going to figure out this area's been started, and I'm going to set it down, and then I'm going to chalk it with one there and one here, and it's pretty sturdy now. It'll still move a little bit, but it's not going to roll away on us. Then what we're going to do is, this is time consuming and honestly not a lot of fun. But we're going to sand this so we can get a really nice stain on it. Now, don't let anyone fool you. You could stain right over these black marks. You could stain over this rusty rail. You could just do it as is, paint these black you want, stain the whole thing, and it would look great. It would really look good. It would show off these old aging spots, and it would be very unique. So you don't need to go through the process of sanding it all smooth. But we want to kind of give it a little fresher look. This is what we're going for. So we're going to go ahead and do that. To show you what you should work with, you should wear some sort of respirator, safety glasses, all that stuff. And then if you're just doing a light sanding, you can use a finish sander or an orbital sander. This is 80 grit on an orbital. And basically, when you find your spots that you want to clean up, you're going to try to apply it. You come in, you see, that'll do the job. However, if you are going for a nice, really clean, fresh look, I'd recommend probably about 80 grit as well, but on a belt sander. Now, this is actually going to take the surface off, but this is going to take off any of those old marks. So again, on a close-up on this one, you can see that we really ate through a lot of that wood. So it's a very time-consuming process. And then once you're done with that, you can either use your orbital or any sort of grinder or scraper. And you can start trying to get that steel clean again if you want to. Or you can even take your belt sander, although you're probably going to rip a few belts. And you can go ahead and start that. So we are going to continue sanding down this barrel. It's going to take quite a while because we want to get it nice and smooth and clean. And then we're going to start applying the stains and everything else, the shellac and the coating. And stay tuned. It's going to get fun. Okay, well, I am filthy, but we are about done. We left just enough character, sanding off some of the silver or some of the rust to show some silver, and also leaving a few marks here. If you want to go ahead and check out the entire barrel, it is very nice and started off. So we sanded it down. It's smooth. We also took off the name because I didn't really care about that particular brand. And we are going ahead and we're going to get some cool stain, do that, seal it up, do everything else. So now it's time to shower, and we'll get back to this another day. Thanks for watching. Well, we ended up picking up some cool stain. So we're going to go ahead and start applying it now. It's been a couple weeks. We're working on a bed refinishing project, a couple other things here in the studio. So the stain we picked up is a Urethane penetrating wood stain, and we did it in gunstock is the one that we went with because the color looks good and sounds cool. So I think it should be a good color for this barrel that we're going for. Now you can use any color you want. And we're going to apply this wood stain, and then we're done with that. We're going to end up sealing it with probably a Spar Urethane. It's going to be an outside patio to where it's not going to be direct elements, but it's going to have some UV light and some other stuff. So we'll talk about the sealant that we'll use last. We also may do an epoxy on the top to sort of fill this in and give a little depth on the top. But we're going to apply this gun stock first, and you can do it by brush or rag like we're doing, kind of making a mess. And you should be going with the grain. But I'm just going to get it smeared on here for now for camera's sake and get it on here. Try not to spill the top. And once you get it in, make sure you get it, you can go right over those steel bands. Make sure you get in all the grooves, and you're going to let it get on there with your rag and then let it dry for a minute, and then you can rub off the excess. If you want it to be darker, you can go ahead and do a second layer and or let it sit a little longer to see it. We're getting a really pretty color. We'll do a close-up on the top here so you can kind of see what this color looks like. But again, you're just going to take a little bit goes a long way. You're going to rub it on. Should be going with the grain, but I'm not a professional. It's going to look good regardless. And once we get it in here, then we're going to go ahead and wipe off the excess and really start to make that barrel and the characteristics of it come out. Stay tuned, we'll check back when it's done. It should be just a few minutes, this goes pretty fast. Well, it only took about 15-20 minutes to go ahead and apply that stain all around, and it looks really, really nice. Probably gonna keep it with just the first coat here. We took a clean rag and sort of buffed off the bands till we got the proper level of darkness. The color we're going for in this barrel is, I don't know, it's called gunstock, but I'd call it Jack Sparrow, sort of pirate color that we're looking for here. It looks like a great old barrel. And next we're going to go ahead, let this dry, and then we're going to apply a nice Spar Urethane that we'll talk about in just a minute. Stay tuned. So the next step we're doing with this barrel is we are actually putting an epoxy on the top of this that we're going to seal in later. And for this epoxy coat, we want to make this nice and smooth at the top, give it kind of a nice place to put your drink and put food. We're using this stuff from Famo Wood called Glaze Coat. I've never used this product before, and I am not hired by them in any way, but I'm going to go ahead and I'll put this and anything else that we use in this refinishing a barrel video in the description in case you want to check it out. But this is supposed to have good results if you follow the instructions perfectly. So basically, you mix a resin and a hardener for 6 minutes, then you mix it another 6 minutes, make sure it's 90 degrees, and then what you're going to do is you're going to pour it on. We did one coat last night, and you're only supposed to go, I think, a thin amount each coat, like 1/8 of an inch. So you're going to pour it on, and then you're going to smooth it out with a scraper. And once that happens, you're going to come over to a heat gun or a dryer or anything else, and you're going to go ahead and get those air bubbles out. So we're going to get working on this, and then we'll let it dry again, and then we'll go on to the next step. So let's see how this does. All right, well, that Famo Wood glaze coat, we ended up doing 3 coats of it, and it went on just perfect. It really looks amazing. I'm not sure if the camera's gonna do it justice, but it is crystal clear, very minimal bubbles. It was easy, just follow the instructions and you really get a great result. So now what we're gonna do is seal the whole barrel with this Spar Urethane. I've used this product before outside, and it is a very good product. It really protects any sort of painted wood or any other wood that's outside the elements. If you're gonna keep this indoors, you could skip this step, or you could use a polyurethane or polyacrylic or anything else. But the Spar Urethane helps to really protect from UV and sunlight and all that degrading stuff. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna apply this both on here as well as over the top. And I don't think it's gonna mess up the crystal clear nature on the top, but I will let you know when we're all done. So without that, the top is susceptible to UV damage and everything else. So what we're gonna do is I'm using a 2-inch disposable brush because I don't really wanna clean it with this oil-based product. And basically, you're just gonna slather this on here, and you wanna go down the whole piece of wood. And once you do that, you're then gonna have to smooth out your bands. You can go straight over the bands. And you're gonna wanna make sure that you don't have any puddling at the bottom of the bands. So make sure to smooth that out. And once you're done with that, then you wanna make sure you go with the grain of the wood to give it a nice finished look along the grain. And you can straighten out the bands whichever direction you choose to. So that's it. We're gonna go ahead and slather this around the entire barrel, and then we'll check back and see how it does. And we're probably gonna end up giving it 2 coats about 5-6 hours apart. Then let dry, and we're all done. We're also, like I said, gonna coat the top. So stay tuned, and we are coming to the end of the project. We are all done. High five. Yeah, all right. This project came out just awesome. Really happy with the finished product. We went ahead and applied those 2 coats of Spar Urethane, so it'll be great for outdoor or indoor. Our epoxy top looks really awesome. That is an interior product unless you cover it to protect it from the weather. We did, and it looks good, although it did make a couple of paintbrush lines on it. So if you are gonna keep it inside, I would not seal over that epoxy top, but for outside, it still looks good. And then we went ahead and covered everything off and nice and protected from rain and water and UV and everything else. You wanna do a nice look around of the whole outside. You'll see this project, it's a lot of labor, but it's really not that tough, and it really brought some new life to that barrel. If you happen to have any cracks, depending on the quality of the barrel, like this one is the only one we have here, you want to fill that with some clear silicone, but do it at the end so that you still get a good stain on there. So we're going to fill that with a little clear silicone, and then just get a dolly or a friend or roll it around, and you can put it where it's going to be. This can be a nice patio table for us. Thanks again for tuning in to Mr. Greg's How To. As I said before, I'll put all the products that we use in the description, and with all these projects, if I can do it, you can too. Thanks for watching.